welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Happy full moon in Taurus. Happy Hallows Eve. Happy Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. And happy Mercury going direct in about 2 days. So there's a lot going on, ladies. So I'm going to ask everyone to mute themselves so that we can get started. Let me pin my video. Here we go. Okay, so there's a lot going on. And I am going to try to give you as many details as I can around the themes of all of these things that I just mentioned. And also, what I do invite you to do during this full moon is to also listen to what everybody is saying as far as the astrologers you listen to, the maybe healers that you usually listen to and stuff like that. But I also invite you to really, really take in your personal intuition and your personal sense of what you feel is true and what doesn't really resonate with you. Because that's what this full moon is all about. It's about your personal, individual truth, being able to manage in that truth and then allow others to have that same freedom in their truth. Not an easy task, and not a lot of examples around this type of behavior that we have around us, right? So it's really up to us to start to own that truth, and also to own the fact that everybody else is entitled to theirs. Everybody else is really searching for their individuality if they're listening to their intuition. And the ones that are unconscious or not listening or a little bit asleep, they're trying to find desperately groups to align themselves with. And this is what happens when we come from a place of unconsciousness. Hi, Danielle, welcome. Hi. So when we come from that place of unconsciousness, then we align ourselves with these groups because we, as humans and always being in relationship, we want to align ourselves with people who think like us. And it's our human nature to want to be in groups. But the problem is that there's so many illusions going on. There's Neptune that's involved in this time where it's ruling the mass media and it's ruling the information that is being pumped out to us. So this is a time of discernment, comadres. Okay? And really, without being disrespectful, having grace, having class, accept that everybody else has their truth too, because this is about ultimate freedom. What kind of freedom? Personal freedom. We have no control what's happening out there. We vote with our highest hope that this system has integrity, but we don't know. And there's been so many examples of lies, deception, cover-ups, that how could we believe in a system that constantly pumps out this kind of illusion? So more than ever, it is important for us to determine what we feel, how we're going to create our reality. What is it that we're going to do to affect our immediate surroundings? North Node in Gemini versus South Node in Sagittarius. For those of you that are new to my moon reports and stuff, what I mean by the nodes is that the moons have nodes. The moon has nodes. And these nodes shift every year and a half or so. And what they do is they give us information as to where as a collective we should be going. For the next year and a little bit, we have the North Node in Gemini. What does that mean? A lot of information. You know, Mercury rules Gemini, and Mercury is known to be the messenger of God in mythology. So It's how information gets to us and how we get information out. And the network that is around us, meaning neighbors, the guy in the, the lady that sells the flowers in the corner, the guy at the shop that you see all the time. How are you affecting your community? How are you affecting your immediate surroundings? Because with the South Node in Sagittarius, South Node meaning where we came from, North Node meaning where we're going. When the South, that kind of behavior is not going to get us anywhere. Because with the South Node in Sagittarius, that speaks of foreign lands and things that we dream of or see, or perspectives or ideologies or philosophies, right? But really, is any of that in our control? What is in your control to change? And start with yourself. Okay? So as we start digging in a little bit deeper, let's talk about Taurus. This is a full moon in Taurus, and Taurus is all things Venusian. The moon loves to be in Taurus. It is exalted in Taurus. It loves to feel good in Taurus, because Taurus is all about feeling good and the finer things in life and what you value and how you act towards the things that you value. How do you put those values into place? Taurus wants to grow. Taurus wants to feel good. Taurus wants to move. But this full moon is so aspected by other planets and other things going on that we're having trouble grounding in those things that we value. We're having trouble grounding in those things where we want to feel good. Because damn, it's hard to feel good as of late. I don't know about you, but it's a struggle. It's an everyday struggle to find that pleasure and to find feeling good with all the crap that is being pumped out from the macro, and then all that crap that's happening inside in the micro. So within, so without, as above, so below. It's happening everywhere. And Taurus is all about building money too, building abundance, building wealth, right? But we're having such a hard time seeing past the veil of all this stuff. Or maybe we're not. Maybe you're feeling driven. Maybe you're dreaming. Maybe you're seeing far beyond. Maybe you're starting to put in place the things that you want for the life that you want to create. Not the one your mom wants you to create, not the one your boyfriend, your husband, the one that you've created around your son or daughter. What does Janine want to create? What does Christina want to create? What does Danielle want to create? Where is that personal truth coming from? What source are you tapping into? Or are you just letting the information be pumped into you, and then you're just going to kind of go with, oh, well, the majority thinks? This is not the time to do that. Because you will be perpetuating a system that is already not working, under the false illusion that you're doing something different, and you're not. So it's really, really time to listen to our own personal truths, because this moon is also in Taurus with Uranus. So let's talk about Uranus, electricity, the father of heaven. I'm talking about high vibration that we can't even understand in our human form. But what Uranus is asking us to do is to shock the system. And if we can't shock the system outside of us, then let's shock the system inside of us. And sometimes that comes in like a lightning bolt, and you can't even believe that you just saw what you saw, and you can't unsee it. But that's the way it goes. And then we have that big bag of tricks in front of us, and where are we going to place that bag of tricks? Right? So it takes a lot of that personal truth and a lot of that introspection and a lot of that cutting out the noise to see where you're going to place these things, and now you can't unsee. So use this moon to ground ground, ground, ground. And I am going to write a grounding ritual for this moon, like I did for the last moon. I don't know if some of you got it. I'll be posting it in the salon and in the moon report. And I'm really going to focus on this grounding because I've been trying to ground since yesterday. And I'm like, I can feel the energy like running through me, and I'm having a really hard time meditating, grounding. So I think maybe if we incorporate a little ritual, maybe we can help each other get to that place. You know, if we invite a little structure and order where we don't have to put much thought into it, we just follow the steps, maybe we can find ourselves grounding and anchoring into our truth and into Mother Earth. Remind yourself of the gifts around you. Remind yourself of the beauty around you. Remind yourself that Mother Earth is abundant and they've only made it look like she's not. She is. And divinity is going to determine how this turns out. We're just playing the roles that we're playing in this playwright. So what role do you want to be? Where does your heart long for you to post up? What character do you want to play in the movie called Your Life? And it's important to come to those determinations. It's important to move through that at this time, because there is so much noise distracting us from that. So there's like energetic traffic jams. You'll probably maybe be in a traffic jam at some point today or tomorrow, like in a real one. Karmic aspects. There's so much karma that's being washed off the planet. All of us are washing karma, washing karma, washing karma. So try to cleanse yourself. Incorporate cleansing rituals. And if you're thinking, oh, that's too witchy for me, well, think of it in terms of science. They use salt. You know, salt is a neutralizer. So take a salt bath, and that neutralizes everything, you know? Or maybe take a walk outside in your favorite park. That's a wonderful way to cleanse your energy. So watch for anxiety, Uranus, nervous system, Uranus. You know, you may be feeling, like I said, a little ungrounded. So just keep that in mind. If you're like, what do I do? And you're like pacing, just bring yourself back. Oh, that's right, the energy. Because some of this stuff may be yours that you're processing. But remember, we're picking up stuff from everybody right now. So some of the stuff may not even be yours, you know? So be real calm and real easy with yourself, because again, relationships are coming up. And again, I talked a little bit about relationships last time, and this is still a big time running theme. So with Mercury now retrograding in Libra, it came out of Scorpio, and now it's coming in, it went into Libra. And then Venus is also in Libra. There's a lot about the relationships we want around us, the relationships that we want to have to ourselves, but especially the relationships, like how are we independent within our relationships? Do we give it all? Do we become an extension of the people that we have around us? Or are we standing constantly in our authenticity and in our personal truth? So surrender to divine order. Understand that if things are not working out right now in the way that you envisioned it, is because they're not going to work out that way. The best thing for you to do is at every moment, surrender instead of expect. Expectations will only lead to disappointment most of your life, but especially now. Because whatever it is not going to look the way you think. And if you can allow yourself to surrender into that outcome and trust in the divine order, there's going to be a lot of anxiety around this time, a lot of stuff really triggering your fight or flight nervous system. At every moment, surrender. Put your faith in your source, whatever that may be, whatever you call it, whether it's your higher self, something greater than you, your kids, Mother Earth, whatever that source is, whatever you pull faith from, that's what you surrender to at all times, and try to have the least amount of resistance right now. That'll only lead to you just feeling really uncomfortable and then being really disappointed with whatever shows up, because it will not look the way you want to. And your ego is going to take a major hit, a major hit. It's not going to get what it wants. It has a limited perception. It makes you think that it knows what it needs and what it wants. And to a certain extent, we use the ego to determine what our goals and our desires are. But then we relinquish control to whatever the divine order of that outcome is going to be. So there's a lot going on here about control on a macro level and in a micro level. So where are these things of control coming up for you that you can't let go? Where is it that you keep yourself in the same systematic approach because you can't relinquish control on relationships, money, habits, addictions, you name it, your kids? Let go, let go, let go. I know everybody in this kind of like industry is always telling you to let go, but there's really something to that. But first, take ownership for the things that you have to let go of. I have a teacher that always says, how can you let go of things that were never yours? If you didn't own them, then how can you let them go? And it's true. Own that behavior, own that relationship, own that freaking mistake, own that you have dedicated 5, 10, 13, 15 years to something and it's still not working out. Own all of it. Everything is changeable. And if it's coming up for review, and if it's bugging you, then there's something to look at. Move into that shadow work. And what I mean by shadow work, who's ever new to those terms, it's that moment where you decide to turn around and face your demons, face your fears, face that nagging feeling that keeps coming up every year, but you keep tucking it down, and it just has no place to go anymore. It is not going to leave you alone. It will be there every year. You'll have to repeat that class every year until you pass and get that credit. So you might as well look at it now. Stop wasting time. Or stop wasting space, because time's an illusion too. Do you want to live your life, or do you want to watch from the sidelines and go along with what everybody else? Okay, I guess everybody else is here watching, so I'm going to watch too. Or are you going to be in the game, getting dirty, fighting your way through to win? Whatever winning means to you. That's a personal choice too. That's a personal truth too. Everybody has their own definition of what success, winning looks like to them. So stay fluid. The more inflexible you are, the easier you'll break. Okay? Tonight is packed with energy, people. So if you thought yesterday was crazy, today is one of those nights where you're going to want to put things in place and move forwards with plans. And I want to do this. And then you're going to be like, oh, but I can't move. Or you'll make a phone call and they're not available. And, because it's still a Mercury retrograde and there's still so much intense energy. that's fine. Let go of that outcome. Let go of it. If you want to put plans in place, put plans in place. If you want to start writing some shit down, write some shit down. You know, where are the places, where do you want to place things, right? Where are the places that you want to go? What are the things that you want to do? With who do you want to do them? How do you want to do them? Where do you want to do it? And if you start really reviewing and looking at these things and really maybe putting them down on a piece of paper, maybe creating a vision board, don't think that these things are not moving forward just because you're feeling so much resistance from the energy and like things are not like really panning out the way you want them to. Don't think that they're not panning out. Just continue to throw your seeds out there. Continue. I promise you, if they're supposed to burst open and live, I promise you they will. Stop stunting growth by placing time and deadlines to them. Allow them to do their thing. Allow the magic of life to move with you, through you, and use that force to get through the waiting period. Right? So I'm going to get to everybody's questions after so that we can do that in private with the comadres. One last thing that I really want to talk about here is back to your values. Everyone should be able to have their own values. And those values should be respected. Everybody should be able to voice their own values, their own individuality, and whether you resonated with not or whether you agree with it or not, they should be respected. And it's important that we start voicing those and we start talking to other people about where they stand. And what's most important, again, I'll tell you, is that you determine where you stand. Where is it that you want to take your life? How do you want to see that unfold? And just know in your hearts. And if you don't believe me, maybe start working towards that awareness that we create our own reality. Everything could be happening outside of us. And yes, they restrict the physical activities that we can do. Regardless of that, we can all create our own reality. Our space where we want to exist, our space where we want to create, our space where we can be wealthy, that hasn't been taken away from us. Our space where we can love and be loved the way we want to. A space where we can determine the way that we're going to relate to others and how we want them to relate to us. A space of gratitude, grace, compassion. And whatever else you want to like throw into that soup, because the soup is yours. Okay? And allow others to create their own soup. Right now, telling other people your truth is not going to work. Like as far as convincing them that that's their truth and that you want them to align with you. All you're going to do is cause friction. All you're going to do is cause arguments. Everybody's going to start like putting their foot down. And really, what is that resolving but feeding more of that energy, that of separation, of division? So I just want to leave you with that. You know, gain an immense amount of respect for how everybody else stands so that you can be respected in your own truth, whether that's in front of you or not. Start to embody the way that you want to be treated. and not example, not living by example. Embody it, live it in your heart, from your heart space. Okay? So at this point, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone who's watching this at a later time. And thank you for watching. And if you wanted to be here live and ask your questions, which we're going to get to now, I invite you to show up to the next one. I would love to have you. So thank you for listening, comadres. Big hug.